Describe a disagreement you had with someone.
This topic instantly brings back a sad memory I had with a close friend of mine, Lang. We used to be best friends for several years. Back then, we would hang out all the time whenever we were free, and she was the person I could open up to about anything. Even though it happened a while ago, I still remember it vividly, like it was just yesterday. At the time, we were studying in the same university class and working together on a group presentation. I was the team leader and responsible for assigning tasks to everyone. Despite having a lot in common when it came to hobbies, we weren't really compatible when it came to working styles. She was a bit laid back and often left things until the last minute, while I was more of a perfectionist, organized and demanding. And that's exactly where our disagreement began. She usually submitted her part of the work late, and it started to affect the whole group's progress. So as the leader, I confronted her. But in the heat of the moment, I ended up saying something really harsh, something I regret deeply to this day. I told her, I've never worked with anyone as careless and lazy as you. I shouldn't have picked you in the first place. Looking back, I know that crossed the line. I expected her to yell back at me or storm off, but instead, she just stood there, started crying, and quietly promised to finish everything before the deadline. Then she walked away. She did keep her word and completed her tasks, but from that moment on, things were never the same. Our friendship slowly fell apart and we drifted away. This whole experience taught me a painful but valuable lesson that sometimes working with close friends can put your relationship at risk. And to this day, it is still one of my biggest regrets.
Why do some people avoid arguing with others?
I think one of the biggest reasons is that they don't want to ruin the relationship. Sometimes even small arguments can turn into something much bigger, especially if emotions get out of hand. So a lot of people just try to avoid that altogether. Also, some people just really hate conflict. Like they get super uncomfortable when things get tense. And they'd rather just keep quiet than say anything that might upset the other person. I guess it's just their way of keeping the peace, even if they don't actually agree.
How do we show respect to others when we disagree with them?
I can't speak for everyone, but in my experience, one way to show respect is by really listening and not cutting people off. No one likes to be interrupted, right? So even if we don't agree, it's important to let the other person finish and explain their side. Another thing is using polite language and a calm tone when expressing disagreement. Like, instead of saying you're wrong, we could say something like, I see your point, but I've got a different take on it. That way, it feels more like a discussion than a fight. I'm sure there are other ways too, but those are the main ones I can think of for now.
What do you do if you disagree with someone?
Well, when I was younger, I used to be pretty hot-tempered and competitive, so I'd often express my disagreement quite strongly and try to win the argument at all costs. But now, after going through some ups and downs in life, I've become a lot more mature. These days, I usually try to look at the bigger picture, stay calm, and explain my point of view in a respectful way. If the other person still sticks to their opinion after hearing me out, I just change the subject. I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and there's really no point in turning it into a heated argument. It's just not really worth it.
How can we stop an argument from escalating into a fight?
That's a good question. I think the key is to stay calm and not take things too personally. I know it's easier said than done, but when people get emotional, they often say things that I don't really mean. So if I sense that things are starting to get heated, one thing I usually do is lower my voice, take a break, and then return to the conversation later when both sides have had time to cool down. It's also important to listen actively instead of just waiting for your turn to speak. When people feel like they are being heard, they are a lot less likely to get aggressive. Another helpful strategy is to simply agree to disagree. I mean, not every disagreement needs a winner, right? Sometimes just acknowledging the other person's point of view and moving on can make a big difference.
Who do you think should teach children to respect their teacher?
Off the top of my head, I'd say parents should be the first ones to teach their kids about respect, not just for teachers, but for everyone in general. Children tend to copy their parents' behavior, so if they see their parents speaking politely about teachers or valuing education, they're more likely to do the same. That said, teachers also play a big role. By being respectful, fair, and approachable, they can naturally earn their students' respect. So, generally speaking, I think it should be a joint effort between both parents and teachers.
What disagreement do parents and children usually have?
Oh, there are tons, but I think one of the most common disagreements is about freedom and independence. For instance, teenagers often want to go out with friends, stay up late, or make their own choices, while parents worry about safety or think their kids aren't ready yet. I remember arguing with my parents about those things all the time when I was younger. Another major source of conflict is education and career choices. Some parents expect their children to pursue what they consider stable or prestigious careers, like becoming a doctor or an engineer, even if that's not what the child is passionate about. This type of disagreement can be long-lasting and create a lot of tension, especially when children feel pressured or not truly understood by the people they are closest to.